Try to remember the kind of September.
Try to Remember is probably one of the first songs that on Broadway that served as a narrator, off Broadway I guess, that served as a narrator describing what the audience was going to see before the show began. And I think that the lyrics, again, set up the whole evening, an atmosphere for the show. And I guess the beauty of the simplicity of love and desire, it almost kind of has echoes of Shakespeare in it. And I think that's what the authors were going for, were echoes of, times gone by, and the simple story of two people in love, and the best way that the fathers can get them to fall in love is to build a wall to say you can't love them. And for me, that's what's exciting about that song. And it's repeated at the end when the fathers actually want to take down the wall now that the children have come together and have become married. And El Gallo, who's the narrator, who is the one who sings the song, comes in and says, you can't take down that wall. If you take down that wall, the relationship may fall apart. So the use of a narrator was a beautiful kind of way to put the show together and actually, tell the story in a simple way. I think the producer is somebody that keeps everybody happy in a lot of ways and creates a team and a positive work environment, almost a manager in a sense. You can't do it alone. No one can do the whole thing by themselves. You need a director with a vision. You need marketing people with a vision. You need designs. You need actors. You need performers. Musicians. You need costumes. You need sets. And then someone has to sit down and say yes or no to all the ideas. And it's a very challenging aspect. I mean, at one point during Tale of Two Cities, there was over 500 people working that were getting checks every week. So you went from having just the author and two producers working on the show to adding a handful of 20 actors and a piano player to all of a sudden, as you cut closer to Broadway, there was 500 people that were building sets and running the advertising and the marketing and the publicity and it becomes overwhelming. It's just like a big storm. It's a $50 million business that gears up in over a 3-month period, and then all of a sudden you're expected to create a revenue, which on Broadway, Wicked can bring in $80 million in a year just for a single show. So it revs up very quickly and it becomes overwhelming. So you need strong people around you that you trust and believe in, from your general managers who are looking at the day-to-day dollars and cents of it, to the director who's watching the creative aspects of the show and making sure that it's working, because there are times when things need to change and it costs money. It's pretty obvious at auditions who the best person is. I mean, if there's a decision between two people, it can go, by a personality. Someone you may know is just much nicer than another person or easier to work with. So I always say be nice to everybody, because that's a very important aspect of the business. Some of the most successful people in this business were the nicest people that I work with in shows when they were young. But being a producer on the other side, at times I always felt like I respected the actor's work, and I never kind of pigeonholed an actor into saying, oh, you only can sing soprano because that's all I've seen you do. Because as an actor myself, I think I can do all kinds of different characters. I can be funny, I can be serious, And so I think that I would often give people more of a chance and see beyond just what, like the industry says, well, you just do these type of shows, or you're just this kind of person. I used to think people had much more talent within them and tried to draw it out. I try not to judge anyone as students. The first student I had was a young boy that came in, and when he started singing, wasn't that strong. He wasn't the greatest singer ever. And I almost felt initially like, well, I should really tell his parents that he's not a strong singer and he should consider, that this should be fun, and I'll build up his character, and, but I don't think he can be a professional singer. Well, the next week he came in and he told me he had his own television show, and he was on MTV Network. So at that point I said, I can't judge anyone whether they're a singer or an actor. My job as a teacher is to build their confidence, because I think ultimately the most successful people in this business are people that are confident. And, not everyone I teach, maybe less than 10% will become performers, but if they become more confident in themselves, they can stand in front of a group of people and be a leader, whether they're giving speeches or seminars or whatever in life. I just think my goal as a teacher is to build confidence. And I'm teaching at Villanova this fall, a voice class, Villanova University, and that's my goal. Not everyone's there to be a singer. I just want to make them feel strong and steady as a human being. As far as working with young people in shows, I have done it. I had directed Les Mis last year, and I directed another show, kind of a mixture of vignettes of shows with young people. And I find that, boy, they're excited to learn. And if I'm excited to be there and I connect the right material with the student, they can shine. And for me, that's exciting when you take a young girl that's never had a solo and you give them a solo and you make it into something special where they leave there going, wow, I feel good about myself. And so connecting the right material with the student's important. You don't want to give someone something too difficult or something that's boring and too easy. You want to give them the right material that can really help them feel good about themselves. So that's my goal is always to make sure that the performer enjoys the experience and takes that with them the rest of their lives. Like I did as a young boy when I, at 9 years old, was cast in the high school production of Music Man, and that stayed with me and got me into this crazy business. After all these years, yeah, that's the moment really when I did Music Man. That kind of took me on the next journey. Well, I think it's great to take lessons with a lot of different people. I think it's great to stick your nose into every door you can, every little class you can. This business, don't be fooled, is who you know. I mean, it's obviously you have to have talent. But if you're taking an acting class with a director that's directing on a soap opera and he needs a 20-year-old kid and he's like, you know what, I can use you. I mean, I have hired people that I knew personally. One guy from our show, Les Minsky, painted my house, and I found out he was an actor and he came in audition and he's terrific for the show. Never done Broadway before, had been an actor and left it 20 years ago, but had so much talent, so much worldly experience. So, I think you need to kind of be in it, and we would agree on this. You have to be in it. You have to be in New York. You have to have an agent. You have to have a manager. You have to go to parties, and you have to be nice to everybody, really nice to everybody, just to really show that you're a good person along with having a great talent. I also think you have to be smart about it. Eventually in this business, we all become too well known. We all reach a peak. And then there's a decline. It's not, this business has a little age discrimination. It's difficult. When I started off, there was 10,000 of us trying to do this. And as you reach 40, there's a couple hundred left. So the other 9,800 have had to kind of express themselves in other ways. And it can be in teaching, it can be in directing, it can be in producing. So I would say, go and live your dream, but also know that there's going to come a time when you're going to need to move on, and you should, have a path for that, whether it's, artistically in marketing or advertising, or in directing, or maybe even out of the business and education. But you should have another path that leads to the next part of your life. But when you're here, you should have a blast and do it, because some of the best years are when you're young and doing stuff for free. When you start making a living doing it, it becomes a different animal. Much more desperate at the time, So I find it to be something that we all have to do other things to kind of make a living at the same time we explore our dreams.